This is CityCast Twin Cities. I'm Sean McPherson, and here's what the cities are talking about. Hans, what is your favorite meal that's under $10?
I love a tom kha soup from a Thai restaurant. Put a little rice in there, get a little tofu. Man, especially this season where we're not feeling super well.
You can just steam your nose, your plugged up nose.
Just let the pores open.
Yeah. Just neti pot it right into your face. Mine is Culver's Kids Meals. Listen to me. I have a hack for you. Your whole family can get them. The Culver's Kids Burger is the same size as an adult burger. And I don't feel bad about doing this because for a family of 4, it's $29 if you get 4 kids meals. And I have heard a Culver's employee talk to someone, an adult that was ordering, and say, why don't you just get the kids meal? It's the same food, but for way cheaper. And you get a giant free ice cream with it. So we do that like probably twice a month in my family. I am from Wisconsin, if that helps you to know.
You are taking money out of the mouth of Robert Culver and his family.
Rob loves it. He's fine with it.
When you're here, your family, I just give you cheap food.
Today on CityCast Twin Cities, we are talking about an averted strike for Minneapolis Public School educators, also the history of racial covenants in Minneapolis, and a new mandate to create smiles at Target, because it always works to mandate smiles.
I'm smiling now because you told me to.
I am joined by our contributor, Hans Buetow. Hans, thank you so much for being with CityCast Twin Cities.
Oh, such a genuine pleasure. I am so excited to be here.
We're also with our executive producer, Anna Weggel, slightly less excited, but still here. Thank you for being here, Anna.
What a thrill, Sean. I am peak excited. This is great.
And if Robert Culver asks, I am 11 years old. So. Now, a couple days ago, I was playing cards in South Minneapolis with a friend who is an educational support professional. And she said, yeah, the new job is good. This is her first year at this particular school and her first year with Minneapolis Public Schools. She goes, it's good, but we're striking on Tuesday. I go, well, do you know that you're striking? She said, I saw them getting out the signs. They are putting the signs in vehicles, getting the signs out of storage, getting ready to strike. And then actually, while we were playing cards, she let me know that this tentative agreement had been reached. But I mean, that's how close we were, getting signs into vans and getting ready to really strike. And today feels like a new day because a tentative agreement was announced yesterday between the Minneapolis Federation of Educators and the Minneapolis Public Schools. And there is some really inspiring stuff about the resolution, but perhaps the most inspiring thing is just the existence of the resolution at all. And when you hear these people talk, the leaders, both from the union and from the school, you can really hear a feeling of unity.
When the dust settled and we actually stop being mediated and start talking and listening to each other, we realized that we had a lot more in common. And that's when we started cooking with gas, y'all. That's when we started actually getting things done.
We have moved past the divisiveness. So this contract is a victory for our students, our schools, our community, and our staff. It's for everyone.
That was Dr. Lisa Sales Adams, the superintendent of Minneapolis Public Schools. And before that was Marcia Howard, who is the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators. There is some details inside of this tentative agreement, including smaller and, very importantly, enforceable class sizes at all schools, because the enforceable thing has been an issue because often folks have thrown up their hands and gone, you told me I was getting these class sizes. I'm not seeing this. Am I supposed to elect to not educate a handful of these people? There's also that thing that was referred to by Marcia Howard. Teachers who are doing adult education are going to earn the same salary as the rest of the teachers in the district. And they're correcting some shortage of payment earlier because there's going to be lump sum payments for education support professionals based on their years of experience. The teacher pay increase, Hans and Anna, is not near what folks asked for. They were aiming for 6% and then 7% for pay increases. We're looking at 2% for the year that people are currently in, 2025, 2026, and then another 2% for 2026 and 2027. I wanted to get through some of the details There's
Yeah.
a huge, bold thing, which is that they look like they like each other. I watched this whole press conference. There's true, like, we've all seen these announcements where the people look like they've been up all night and they're just glad
Yeah.
they got somewhere. Everybody had their makeup on. Everybody looked like they were comfortable and happy to be in this room together. This is rare in Minneapolis Public Schools. That makes me positive today.
Okay, so that's interesting, Sean, because you say the word tentative and I'm immediately like on guard about it. But what you're describing is tentative in the sense that they haven't finalized it yet, but it doesn't sound like it's tentative in terms of like people are just waiting to see how it shakes out or there's still some acrimony. It sounds like people actually somehow have come to the table.
Yes, I'm using the word tentative to mean the rank and file have to vote on it later this week. But they even had a vice president saying, I think this is going to go through. I did have a question about that because I was getting nervous. I mean, if you thought your union was aiming for 6% or 7%
Yeah.
wage increases and you're going to get 2%,
Yeah.
I could see that. But usually they don't come out and do the press conference until they're pretty sure that the rank and file is going to be behind them. And I believe that people are being sober about real financial realities that are facing Minneapolis Public Schools and that they're not hiding a bunch of money in a secret place. When Lisa Sales Adams, the superintendent, said, look, this is what we can make happen, I believe that they took her and the rest of the team at their word. And so I'm not using tentative to mean tenuous. I'm using tentative to mean it's about to become, truly confirmed a little bit later this week.
So did we get through most of what is in the tentative contract, or is there anything else?
The big, bold parts of it, we really did get through. One thing that came up when I was actually talking to somebody who is an education support professional is that they're getting those 14 days of full pay for days when school isn't in session, like MEA or winter or spring breaks. I think that's a big deal to that group, which is a subset of teachers. Teachers are already getting that pay. It's these education support professionals where that's changing. But to tell you, talking to somebody who's about to get an extra 14 days of pay that they didn't expect to get, it's pretty welcome news for that group.
Yeah.
So if they end up signing this, Sean, if this actually goes through, how long would it be binding for? How long is it going to last? When are we going to be in this position again? And do we have any sense what that'll look like?
It lasts for 2 years, but it has already started because it lasts for the 2 years that include this school year that's already going. So it's less than 2 years. And I do want to say a little bit, reading the tea leaves and looking forward, Hans, it's very common for it to be 2-year contracts. That's been going for a long time. The particular difficulty of navigating post-COVID finances for public schools is going to get easier because there's less money. And I know that sounds negative, but whenever you have a situation where for a couple of years there's a glut of money, it means that people are going to have something else to negotiate and something else to fight over. So when everybody's broke, which is what's happening now that nobody's putting money into education and there isn't extra federal funds, you ultimately go, I bet the negotiations 2 years from now will be easier. They will be painful because there's not going to be a lot of money around, but there is not going to be as big of a change in what is in the budget 2 years from now as there was 2 years prior.
So, Sean, when you were sitting there with your friend playing cards, like, were they happy? Like, is this really good news for teachers?
Yes. I got the vibe when she got that email that said a negotiation has been reached or a tentative agreement has been reached. I think she was very, very relieved.
Yeah.
And another thing that I don't think this is unique to the person that I was playing cards with, but particularly for folks who are educational support professionals who might be working for students with special needs and unique needs, I think there is a bigger sense of like, hey, look, if you're a 10th grader who's doing fine and you take 5 days off for a strike, maybe you pick up a couple shifts at your part-time job, you catch up a little bit on work. A lot of times these education support professionals are also feeling conflicted about striking because they're going, I don't know how these kids are going to get through their day. They need support 24 hours a day, and we are that support often 8 hours plus a day. So not only I believe she was relieved to just not have to deal with the headache of a strike and not getting paid, but also the idea of the people that I serve are going to have a continuity of service. And ultimately, that's what the smiles I saw from Marcia Howard, Lisa Sales Adams, I feel like the smile was, hey, you know what? The kids are going to keep on being educated and taken care of. People aren't going to miss out on school lunch. People aren't going to miss out on sporting events, et cetera.
Yep.
And I saw that kind of excitement. And more than excitement, I guess I mean, What's the word for when you were really nervous about something? Relief. Like
Relief.
Okay, this is not going to happen. So,
Yeah.
Right. So the schools are not going to close.
tentatively.
Okay.
Hans, you brought it up.
Yeah.
I really don't think they do these press conferences until they think the rank and file are there, but the votes happen later this week. And you still, in 2025, I don't want to go, this is for sure what's going to happen when, upwards of, I believe, like 3,000 people vote on something. But all signs point to schools not closing, and all signs point to there not being a strike right now.
Interesting.
We'd love to hear from you. How do you feel about avoiding a strike? How do you feel about the future of education, particularly in Minneapolis? Send us a text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. There's more news to discuss, including mandated smiles at Target. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break. We just put an election in the rear view, but there's still a lot of things to think about with the impacts of elections. And frankly, I think elections are one of the rare moments where you can look back at the history of a particular city or even a particular position like the mayor. You can look at voting results. You can get really granular. And you can also, of course, think about the future, how these new policies that a new mayor-elect might bring into your lived experiences. But it's also a chance to think about how old policies change your current lived experience. If you live in a part of the Twin Cities with racial covenants on the books in your deeds, that impacts the racial makeup of your neighborhood today. But I want to back up for a minute because I didn't grow up knowing the term racial covenants. I think I became aware of it in about 2018. And Hans, our contributor, is actually involved in this Mapping Prejudice project. So first, Hans, simple question. What is a racial covenant?
Racial covenant is a part of your deed. It's added to a deed, the thing that gives you the right to have that space and that building and says where it is and what parcel and all that. That thing can include, if it was put in there when it was created, a clause that keeps people who were not white from buying or occupying the home. It was not uncommon for a lot of the time period that the Twin Cities was being built.
Also, having seen some of these, it's not like gray language. It'll say no Jews, or it'll say no blacks and things like that as well. Yeah,
it won't say blacks, but yeah, it will. It'll be a lot worse. Yeah, actually, Sean, I looked my house up because the way that I found out about this was because I got a letter from Ramsey County saying you've got a racial covenant on your home, and just like you, Sean, I was like, oh, what am I? What? Do I need to call a pest person? What is that? And so I started looking into it a little bit, and they had a thing at our city hall, our Falcon Heights City Hall. And so I went over there, and they did a whole presentation where you can actually get it taken care of. They had lawyers in the room. You could go learn a little bit about it and then get it taken care of. So we went to the event.
What does get it taken care of mean?
So this is an interesting point.
Like removed, right?
Like get rid of it. Is that what you mean?
No.
Ooh.
This is what I find really interesting about it. They're not removing them from the deeds. They are instead putting in a clause that says this is unenforceable. This will never be enforced, but they're not taking them out.
I wish they would.
So it's an interesting point, right? Because we brought this up when we were in the meeting. It's like, why wouldn't you just take them away? This seems wild. The people who were running Mapping Prejudice from the U of M had a really thoughtful answer, what I thought was a really thoughtful answer to that, which is that look, these things are not enforceable. As of the Civil Rights Act of 1968, that included the Fair Housing Act, which says directly in it, racial covenants are not enforceable. So we haven't actually been able to, you couldn't actually go to a lawyer and be like, look, this says this in my deed.
Mm.
So their point was, what happens if the Fair Housing Act goes away? Which felt like a really bananas thing to say 6, 8, 10 months ago.
Wow.
But because of so much that's happening in the Voting Rights Act and how much, which is in the same 1968 Civil Rights Act, with how much stuff is being repealed in those spaces, if we have these things then they're in there.
Okay, so now I'm getting a sense of this, Hans, which is that people are sort of going, in this current political climate, we better dot all our I's and cross all our T's on the stuff that we think couldn't happen because we've already seen a whole bunch of stuff that we thought couldn't happen.
Yep.
Okay. They don't teach us on the first day of podcasting school, but Hans, I'm about to try to make a joke and then give you a gotcha question. So strap in, hold on to your microphone.
I just
First
need to breathe.
off,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
You went to the Falcon Heights City Hall. Did you say that?
Yeah. Yep.
What part of the fairgrounds is the City Hall on for Falcon Heights? Is it on Dan Patch or is it like...
No, it's in the Midway. It's in the Midway, obviously.
Okay. Were you able to get cheese curds? Like, seriously, Falcon Heights is 1 block long besides for the State Fair. Can you actually tell me where the Falcon Heights City Hall is?
It's just it's on Larpenteur, just north of the fields.
Okay.
Basically right across from Philando Castile's memorial.
Okay. That's very germane to my semi-gotcha question. I bet you get out to this meeting, meet with some lawyers. Some of them are volunteering. Some of them might be getting paid. It's 45 minutes out of your day. Doing the paperwork is probably an extra hour and 40 minutes to try to get this covenant fixed that hasn't been enforceable for 57 years. Is there a better 2 hours you and your family could spend to fight racism than fixing an unenforceable thing on a deed?
Yes, but why does it have to be a binary?
Because if you're going, this is what I got 2 hours, scrap that and go volunteer, scrap that and go stand out there and go, this is where Philando Castile was killed by police and this can never happen again where I live. And again, it's not a binary because you got time. I can't get into your business and find out everything else you do. But I'm worried that this is one of those things. The San Francisco School Board spent like 2.5 years changing the names of public schools and not addressing the needs of their students. Are we making the same mistake by fixing things in our paperwork when we should fix things in our streets and in our communities?
Let me say it this way. I don't think awareness is ever a bad thing to have. The Mapping Prejudice Project says very explicitly, part of what they're doing is reparative justice. And part of what reparative justice requires is an acknowledgement and a reckoning by the people who caused some of the harm. To talk about, okay, what are the things that we can do? Knowing that you have a racial covenant on the property that you have. Knowing that, for example, if I go to my house built in the 1950s, said that it should not be sold, rented, or used, occupied by any person except a person of the white Caucasian race. However, members of other races may occupy the premises when employed.
Oh, rough.
I think that's important to hear. It's rough to hear.
Yeah.
I think it's not enforceable. No. But it's important to hear. It's important to know that it's there. And it's important to make a historical stand and say, yeah, this thing happened. And when I look at the map of Minneapolis, when I look at the map of the Twin Cities, you can see these covenants mapped directly into where the highways are, where the inequalities are all over the city. Like, this is the basis of a ton of structural stuff that is literally placed right on top of it. Why people live in the places that they are and where they were or were not allowed has ramifications. We're still voting on things that have their roots in language like that are still on our deeds. Yeah, it's not enforceable. Yeah, it could be enforceable. Let's make sure it's not. But also, let's have a real conversation about this and be honest to the fact that these things exist in the spaces that we occupy.
And Hans, did you say why you received that letter? Is it a part of this project?
I received the letter because of the work that Mapping Prejudice had done. They had... Okay. What you can do is you can volunteer for them and you go in and you read deeds for them and you identify the parts of it that has the racial covenant and then you say where it is and then they will notify people.
How many have you done?
Hundreds. They're very easy to do.
Really?
You do it online. There's an online portal. I keep it up. I did a lot more of them over the summer. I would keep it up, and instead of when I need to take a break during a busy day, instead of pausing and playing a video game or something, I'd do a racial covenant.
Wow.
Just boop, takes 5 minutes. Easy. Done. You feel like you did something.
My gotcha question completely backfired because now I feel like the asshole who does play a video game, whereas Hans is like, oh, just getting rid of a couple covenants. And you raise a very vital point, Hans, which is that, we might want to be prepared for a day where this Housing Act is no longer exists or is no longer enforced. But B, also when something connects you to place, what else does that plug you into? When you start doing this work, what else do you find? And we shouldn't be too picky about how people find their way into this work. We're talking a lot about how these covenants of yesteryear that haven't been enforceable for quite some time are still tangible in the way we exist today. And we're talking about disparities, which, again, are really abysmal in the Twin Cities and in Minnesota. Another disparity is in voter turnout. And the two north side wards in Minneapolis are 4 and 5. North side is the blackest part of Minneapolis. And they had a turnout of 40.3% in Ward 4 and a turnout of 35.2% in Ward 5. And we're seeing significantly higher turnout, even in the upper 60s in different wards in Minneapolis. We were just patting ourselves on the back about high voter turnout, but that voter turnout is not spread out equally. When you see low amounts of voting, and we were also observing when you see low amounts of attempting to engage with the North Side and actually communicate, especially in citywide elections, do you see that inside the way you're learning about racial covenants in your volunteer work, Hans?
Yeah. My guess is, I haven't done the data, but my guess is if you mapped those two things against each other and laid one on top of the other, they would match each other.
Well, you know what? I got to give a shout out to Sean McPherson from On-Site Public Media, who actually did a short Instagram post laying some of that comparison out and talking about where different folks had covenants and where different mayoral candidates won, as well as how the voting turnout was. So yes, there's a lot to connect on the dots, and I want to tip my hat to On-Site Public Media for that work.
That's great. I'd love to see that. That's great.
You said reparations, Hans, and whenever I hear reparations, I think cut a check. This is reparations in repair a wrong on paperwork, not cut a check. Am I correct on that?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And reparations has a lot of ways that it can be enacted. Money is definitely one aspect of it, but there are many other forms of reparative justice. And so this can be a form of reparative justice. And it's needed. I mean, still, we have one of the highest disparities in the country, if not the highest disparity between white and black home ownership. 78% of white families own a home, but only 25% of black families own a home in the Twin Cities. No one else comes close to that in the country. And that, we need to understand that this is one of the reasons why.
Hans, the amount of cooking videos I watch in a day is staggering on my phone. If I wanted to do something else with my time and volunteer with this project, what's the easiest way to get involved?
Very easy to go to mappingprejudice.umn.edu. You can Google Mapping Prejudice, and it'll take you and give you a bunch of information. You can look at the animated versions of the maps of how the covenants evolved over time, which is fascinating. And then there'll be a button in there to volunteer, and you go through a quick training. They'll teach you how to use the software, and then you're on your own. You can do it anytime you want. It's real easy, and it feels good.
We want to hear from you. Have you looked into the deed for your house? Have you thought about how that impacts the way you exist today? Have you thought about volunteering for a project like this or a similar project? We'd love to hear about it all. Send us a text or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Twin Cities hotline, 612-217-0637. There's more news to discuss, but before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
Sean?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm weird now.
Yeah, this is weird.
What are you getting up to this weekend?
I'm volunteering for racial covenants. Thank you so much.
Hans, hi.
Hi.
Welcome in. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
What are you up to today?
I'm not telling you. This sounds like the start of a horror movie.
That's right. Well, I wanted to put you in a slightly uncomfortable place
Done and done.
Target has issued a new mandate to its employees. If you step within 10 feet of a Target employee, they have to smile, make eye contact with you, and greet you or wave at you. But if you step within 4 feet of them, they have to ask you if you need help or how your day is going.
Oh.
Basically, they want you to feel like you're shopping at Trader Joe's.
I just felt a part of me die.
Okay, this is called the 10-4 program, 10 feet or 4 feet. It's supposed to help them with sluggish sales in the last year as they ramp up to the holiday season. So this story was in the headlines this weekend, starting on Friday. Did either of you shop in a Target this weekend?
No.
I haven't shopped at Target in months and months and months because, aren't we low-key boycotting?
You're observing the boycott.
Yeah. This is the way to solve it. I think they've nailed it.
Nailed it. I did admittedly shop in a Target yesterday because when you have daycare age children, also maybe elementary school age children, Sean, you have to get waterproof mittens with no notice, immediately. And And so I talked to an employee. I said, do you have mittens? She barked at me, they're over there, and pointed to a bunch of gloves, which does not work for a 1-year-old. So I just want to say this was not observed this weekend, but I'm honestly kind of glad because I really hate that this mandate exists. And after everything Target employees have been through this year, bad PR, boycotts, layoffs,
yeah.
Do you think it's fair to ask them to be extra smiley right now?
I think it's dumb to ask them to be extra smiley. And I want to, I know you didn't ask me if I thought it was dumb, but I think it's dumb.
I'd like to hear it. Yeah.
So I think fair, I think they are certainly within their legal rights to go, here's our new dumb policy and you should do it. You know where people give pretty good customer service and also are paid well and also the company stays out of the news? Costco, right? Like if you want people to smile, pay them good and don't do dumb stuff. And maybe Costco does their dumb stuff quietly, but I don't think so. Listen, like Anna, I have softly been observing a Target boycott, but sometimes push comes to shove and it's what you need. But I'm upset with them about shuttering DEI voluntarily, even though they said they believed in it. I'm frustrated with them sending $1 million to Trump for his inauguration. And those are reasons to not go to Target. I'm not going to come back because people are smiling. I'm going to come back just to see if I hit that 5-foot level, are they going to start the 4-foot spiel? I don't think it's going to work.
I can already see like the TikTok videos of people testing this new rule. And I feel so bad for the employees, who are just like working through this holiday season in retail, trying to make ends meet.
Somebody's showing up with a tape measure.
I know.
You know it. You know it's coming.
I know.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends who work for Target, and I asked them all, if they got to keep their jobs. Most did. One said she's doing like a bunch of people's jobs now. And so I think that even if you are employed there, it's just a really tough time. And I just feel so bad for them.
So does this mean that now when you see your friends, they have to, when you get within 10 feet of them? Because this says mandate to Target employees. So
when people see me, they can't help but smile. And that's just me. So, yeah.
But this does feel like this is what they mean, because I didn't realize that I had taken this way. What they mean is the people in the khakis and the red shirts, right?
Yeah,
they mean the people
retailers.
in the actual retail stores who are probably paid the least in the amount in the company, who now have to bear the emotional burden.
And it's tough because, like, is this what customers want? I feel my heart, like, pounding when I walk up to Trader Joe's to check out because I'm like, they're going to ask me what I'm doing today. What am I going to say? Do I have to give my address? Like, it just feels like too much social interaction for me. So I don't need this. They don't let them focus on stocking the shelves. They don't have to ask me how I'm doing. They don't have to smile. It's okay.
Yep.
So Sean mentioned Costco. You have a great experience at Costco. Hans, do you have a favorite customer service experience that you regularly go through?
I'm with you. I love a customer experience where they let you be until you need them. They're there, and you know that they're there if you do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can just like, I'm not going for conversation. Now you have been in line with those people who just haven't had a social interaction in a couple of weeks, and they're delighted to have a moment to talk to the cashier. And like, I hope that gives them some meaning in their lives to be able to know that they have a place that they can go where people will greet them. But man, that feels like the wrong Band-Aid for the wrong wound.
Right. And sometimes you just want to be an anonymous girly walking through Target with your tampons and your summer sausage. Yep. And you don't need anyone to talk to you at all.
If I see tampons and summer sausages, I'm definitely not like, how's your day? I just go, listen, we're hitting different types of struggles and we're addressing them in different ways. And I appreciate that. This policy, Anna, has taken away the agency from people to feel out the guest. Hans doesn't want to talk. And this takes away the employee's ability to actually artfully provide the right kind of service. I have a hack for all Target employees, not the fancy pants at corporate, but for the folks who are going to face this rule. First thing you do, buy a mask. Then you never have to do the 4 feet stuff. Because if you put on that mask, I don't think I've never gone up to somebody wearing a mask and been like, first, can we hug? And then I'm going to ask you where the Kleenex are. If you have a mask.
Smile with their eyes.
So I would be putting that mask on and don't be so nice. That's my advice. That's all for today here on CityCast Twin Cities. I'm your host, Sean McPherson. Hans Buetow, Anna Weggel, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Sean. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Sean. I'm smiling, and this is not a mandate.
That was our contributor, Hans Buetow, and our executive producer, Anna Weggel. You can get more news delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to the CityCast Twin Cities newsletter. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who has tampons and summer sausages in their cart on Target.com. We'll see you back here tomorrow for more news from around the city.
And you know what's funny? I don't use tampons and I do not eat summer sausage.
Same, just for the record.
Thank you.